Let's go back to our correspondent in Washington, D.C., Tatiana Anderson, who has been listening in to all that. Tatiana, can I also ask you, what has the reaction been? We've seen all this global condemnation to Trump's announcement. Prior to the announcement, presumably we're going to hear it again. What about within the U.S.? What are the politicians there making of all this? Are they supporting him?
Well, you know, President Trump has his supporters and he has his detractors, certainly, and this is one of those sort of flashpoint issues that certainly gets people talking. But when it comes to the immediate reaction, I want to bring in Lara Friedman. She is the president for the Foundation for Middle East Peace. She's also a former diplomat. So to answer your question, we should really ask Lara. And what's happening here is this is really a flashpoint issue around the world. We've heard various Arab leaders say that this is going to foment violence in the region. Is this President Trump sort of validating Israel's policies thus far in the West Bank and East Jerusalem? How do you see it?
I think it will be seen both by Israelis and by the region as doing just that. I think that's something that everyone will agree on in the region, that this is essentially a validation of not just Israel's policies, but Israel's positions on Jerusalem, that Jerusalem, and by that they mean all of it, is Israel's capital.
And what about the president's reasoning behind all this? We've talked about the idea that maybe he's appealing to his base, those evangelicals,
right,
those pro-Israel Jewish Americans, or maybe this is sort of a reforming of the foreign policy in the region. Where do you think he's going with this, and why is he doing this now?
Look, I think that's the big question. I think the latter part of what you said is probably the answer. I don't think this is a one-off. I think even on Israel-Palestine, to look at this as a one-off moment is wrong. This is part and parcel of what the Trump administration has been doing on Israel-Palestine since they took office. It started with very much changing gradually, quietly, our policy on settlements. It extended to 2 weeks ago, where we effectively diminished the status of the Palestinians' diplomatic relations with the United States by attacking their embassy, their mission here. And here we have the change on Jerusalem. And by the way, in Congress, we have legislation that's going to effectively call the PA an organization that supports terror. So we're moving to an era when the Oslo Agreement, 2 states, are no longer foundations of our policy, and it's not clear what's going to replace that.